Yellowstone supervolcano, crater-forming eruptions can go off every 700 years, according to U.S. Geological Survey recent revelations. Yellowstone volcano scorching systems produce large crater-forming eruptions every 700 years, according to USGS. The history of the large volcanic eruptions shows us the source of heat bubbling away under the U.S. National Park. Yellowstone has had three major super eruptions that went off 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, 640,000 years ago, and at least one of these eruptions was super, meaning it peaked at a VEI 8. Since then, there's been many small eruptions, 70,000 years ago, volcanic and also hydrothermal, and 80 eruptions since that 70,000 year ago eruption. One of them was 5,300 years ago. That was the explosion of the hydrothermal system that created Mary Lake. Hydrothermal eruptions are the most common form of volcanic activity in Yellowstone, and the blasts of boiling water from underground punch craters. These craters could be 330 feet across, while spewing rocks and debris into the sky, of course. And we have to remember, for example, what happened at the White Island volcano in New Zealand on December 9th. That was a hydrothermal explosion, similar to what could happen in Yellowstone. The White Island volcano was superheated steam that had to escape, and that's how that volcano blew. It did have earthquake swarms and increased volcanic earthquake activity weeks before that, but it was a surprise eruption. Now, USGS says hydrothermal explosions are most likely of Yellowstone's volcanic hazards, and potential for additional future explosions is not insignificant. Hydrothermal explosions in Yellowstone that form craters greater than 328 feet, 100 meters across, could occur on average every 700 years. The largest hydrothermal explosions in Yellowstone occurred after an ice cap of more than 0.6 miles thick receded from the area of the Yellowstone Plateau. That was about 13,000 years ago. That was around the Younger Dryas. And weaker eruptions are more frequent, but not only produce craters. They don't only produce craters several feet wide, but big craters. This is according to the USGS latest Caldera Chronicles. USGS said these blasts typically occur once every 2 years. An example of this is what happened with the Excelsior geyser in the 1880s. That's when they were exploring Yellowstone area. The geyser erupted across a series of events that are still considered large hydrothermal blasts of modern history. The Pork Chop Geyser in Norris Geyser Basin in 1989 ruptured and hurled rocks more than 216 feet from the spewing volcano, and the eruption produced a roar that was heard 1,978 feet away. Now, up to now, the Walpole and Biscuit Basin erupted 10 to 15 seconds more recently, spewed hot water and debris of fragments, rock and soil, of course, and the small explosion also went off in 2018 at Yellowstone's Ear Spring Geyser in the Upper Geyser Basin. Although events like this are not comparable to Yellowstone's volcanic eruptions, the supervolcanic eruptions, of course, USGS said they are the most frequent and they are the most likely of Yellowstone's many dangers. Hydrothermal explosions, they said. According to USGS, these are the most likely of Yellowstone volcanoes' hazards. With little to no warning, thermal features can erupt as rock-hurtling geysers that excavate shallow craters. They said smaller explosions occur more often and can impact an area tens of feet in diameter, whereas less frequent, larger eruptions could send hot water and rocks a few thousand feet up. So this is exactly what happened, for example, at the White Island volcano. That's what they're relating this to. And even more likely than another major volcanic eruption is another earthquake. For example, Sebastian Ketley. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.